Fear and faith cannot coexist. Fear is debilitating. It stops you. It keeps you from moving forward or doing what you need to do. Faith empowers you and it allows you to overcome whatever obstacle there may be. So we've got to master the art of remaining faithful in the midst of any circumstance and not fear. We want to trust God and believe that He will always see us through. As always, it's such a pleasure to be here for the Sanctuary Sunday School powered by the Sanctuary Academy. This week's subject is freed from fear. I'm going to say that again, freed from fear. And anytime you use the word free, it indicates that there was at one point a bondage or something that had you held back or something that was preventing you. So we've been freed from fear. We're no longer bound by fear through Jesus. And that's just a wonderful thing to know. And it's a great reassurance to have because life can be scary. There are situations that will cause you to be fearful if you did not know that you had the Lord on your side. So we see here that we are in the book of Matthew in the 8th chapter. And this is at a point where Jesus was with his disciples and he had already delivered the Sermon on the Mount and he'd already healed people and he'd already delivered people. And I look at this because sometimes we're like this. We know, first of all, we have the entire Bible. But on top of that, we've seen all of the things that God has done. He's already delivered us in so many ways. So why would we allow any situation to make us become fearful? So we see that he was here on the boat with his disciples and he was asleep. Then it says there was a great tempest. It was a storm that came up and the waves started to cover the ship. And Jesus was there asleep on the boat and they became afraid. And you know, again, you're there and you're in the ship and the storm comes, but Jesus is on board. So when we go through storms in life, all we've got to do is remember that Jesus is on board. And that's what somebody did. And they cried out to God, you know, Lord, save me because we're going to die if you don't save me. And so Jesus' response to them was, you know, why are you fearful? Ye of little faith, you know I'm here. You've seen everything that I've done. You know that I'm the Son of God. You know how many times I've already delivered you and the transformation I've made in your life. So what is the point of fear? And when we think about that, it really applies to us. And we can have the same kind of thoughts and reassurance with God. When things happen, we can go to him and we can ask him for deliverance. And there's not really a reason to be fearful. We can remain calm, knowing that God will provide and that he's always in control of everything, no matter what the situation may be. And we don't have to be intimidated by what I call the powers that be. You know, some people, they're scared of their boss. They're scared of their landlord. They're scared of their pastor or whomever it may be, anyone who's in a position of authority. But you have to remember that Jesus has the ultimate authority, not only over your life, but he has the ultimate authority over the entire world and whatever the circumstance may be. You can't control anybody, but you have the power to go to God and ask God to move on your behalf in any situation. And that's something that is so important to remember. And so we see that Jesus, he spoke to the winds and the waves. He told the storm to cease. And there was calm. And I looked at this and it was so powerful. And they began to marvel and say, what manner of man is this? What kind of person is this that he can speak to the sea and the sea obeys him? And even to this day, the forces of nature, the element, earth, wind, fire, and water. Man cannot control. When there is a hurricane coming, all you can do is evacuate. When there's wildfires raging, all you can do is evacuate. When earthquakes come, you have to evacuate. And these are all things that are destroyed. Tornadoes, when they come, there's nothing that we can do but take cover. And that is an example. And even when it storms, because I live in an area which is just north of what they call Tornado Alley. The tornadoes come through here. And I know, they tell you to take cover, but I know last year it was funny because me and all my neighbors were outside looking to see, because it's just such an amazing thing to see the power of God and what he can do with nature. And it's such a powerful reassurance to us. That's the kind of power that we have backing us up. No matter what situations we're facing, and I've been in situations where people, things have come against me, and I just kind of sat there and went, you have no idea who you're dealing with. You have no idea how powerful the God is who's on my side. And once we know that, we can stand firm on that. You can be in the eye of the storm and be tossed about here and there. You can see the waves crashing. One of my favorite songs is by the late Douglas Miller. My soul has been anchored in the Lord. I'm not going nowhere. Nothing is going to happen to me unless the Lord says so. No circumstances, no force on earth controls that. I am controlled by God. And when we know that, we can have this peace. Another song by James Cleveland, Peace Be Still. We can have that peace and that stillness in our lives at all times through whatever comes. And we've got to know that. We've got to understand that we are freed from fear. We have no reason to fear anything or anyone. And when that fear starts to rise up within you, go back to the Word of God. Remember the promises of God. Go back to a time where God brought you out before and stand on that and believe that he will do it again. And remember, especially in this time, you don't have to be afraid of anything, because God has set you free from fear.